Shout out to S. Wiseman for sending me this story that is coming out of Utah. I don't think it's been a while since I've done a story coming out of there, but you already know if I do a story coming from that place, you know it's going to be some fucked up shit that happened. And this one right here is very fucked up, but it is an opioid based story. So you have this woman by the name of Elet Neilson, who was a former Utah nurse, and she probably was a nurse up until recently when they fired her ass on God for what she did. So this woman has to go to prison for 5 years for stealing painkillers and infecting the patients. That's just the tip of the iceberg based on what I saw in the email that S. Wiseman sent me. But I'm not going to give it away too soon right now. I'm going to go ahead and read the article, and we're going to work our way up to it. He had found out he had been infected with a rare strain of hepatitis C through a letter from the Red Cross. The Utahn had been a regular blood donor, but the letter informed him he was banned from donating in the future. I'm mad that the article started off like that. I was horrified, said the man, who was identified in federal court Monday only as patient 0. Then the health department began calling, asking probing questions about his sex life and whether he used drugs as officials tried to unravel how he got the disease. It turns out this man and 6 others contracted hepatitis C after going to an emergency room. Their nurse, Elet Neilson, took portions of their pain medications and in doing so, unknowingly infected them. I'm not a vindictive person, patient 0 said, but I truly hope the people understand this recklessness can't be tolerated. It really is a troubling thing to go through. U.S. District Judge D. Benson sentenced Neilson to 5 years in federal prison, although she should have got way more time. He knew that Neilson didn't try to infect people, he said, but time behind bars was warranted. What the hell do you mean that she wasn't trying to infect people? Did they read the title? It says she stole painkillers and infected the patients. See, that's the thing about these damn judges. The judges are the ones that, of course, hold all the cards. What do it mean that they wasn't trying to infect anybody? She infected multiple patients with hepatitis C. At that point, it's no longer an accident. This is a case of unintended consequences, the judge said. No one has shown me any facts that the defendant intended to transmit a serious disease. It did happen, and that makes this case a remarkably sad one. Maybe this nurse, her, needs to go and infect his ass with whatever they got and see if he feels the same way. Neilson, age 53, pleaded guilty in September to 2 counts of tampering with a consumer product and 2 counts of fraudulently obtaining a controlled substance. A dozen similar charges were dismissed as part of the deal. The plea deal allowed Benson to sentence her to as many as 10 years in prison. Federal prosecutor Sam Peed had asked Benson to sentence Neilson to more than 7 years behind bars. Neilson's attorney Adam Bridge argued for probation. Neilson has until March 2nd to turn herself in to federal authorities. The former nurse gave a teary apology, telling the judge that she was repulsed by my own behavior and never thought her actions would affect so many people. So right there, she says she's repulsed by her own behavior, which means she has admitted, and she pled guilty, which means she admitted to knowingly giving these people hepatitis C and infecting them with this disease. But the judge wanted to make it seem like she didn't do it on purpose and that it was an accident. The judge is the one that's trying to get her off. Neilson says she turned to drug use in 2014 as a way to cope. She was in the middle of a divorce, working long overnight shifts and caring for her young son who has autism. Her son, she said, had lit her home on fire and they were living in a hotel room. She didn't know she had hepatitis C or that she had infected her patients until the health department called her in 2015. So it sounds like she basically took the syringe or whatever was used, put it in herself, got it from her, and then transferred it to other people. That's what it sounded like. She's disgusting. I was ravaged with guilt, shame, and sickness, she said. When I saw and understood through the media that 7 other people had the same strain I did, I was devastated and sickened. I didn't want to crawl out of my house. I didn't want to be seen in public. I was physically sick. Neilson said she cried as she read the letters that her one-time patients had sent to the judge, which told stories of how her actions impacted them. They wrote about how they had to endure a 3-month treatment plan that had painful side effects and caused some to hallucinate. They experience shame when they tell people they have contracted the disease. They worry about their families and their futures, about whether mixing toothbrushes or getting a paper cut could infect their loved ones. Some worried about whether it would affect intimacy with their spouse. Others became resigned to never, ever finding a partner. When you read all of that right there of what her patients will most likely not be able to do, she took that from them. She took that away from those people when she did that. So because she was going through all of what she was going through, she had to make sure everybody else was feeling her pain. So this is what she did. She's a selfish bitch. And then you look back to what that judge says, and you just want to like knock him dead in his goddamn throat. The people she affected are real people, said patient zero, and we have real lives. Neilson admitted in plea agreement documents that she was in an emergency room nurse at McKay D Hospital in Ogden. She took painkillers meant for patients and she used it for herself. Her attorney explained that Neilson would fill 2 syringes with paid medication and administer one to the patient and put the other in her pocket to use when she got home. She would then bring the needle back to work and get more medication. In the chaos of the emergency room, he said the syringes got mixed up. Though Neilson pleaded guilty to infecting 7 patients, the Utah Department of Health estimated that at least 16 people were infected with the disease. State officials estimated that the former nurse exposed as many as 7,200 patients to the hepatitis C genotype B strain. Of those patients, roughly 4,800 were treated at McKay D Hospital, where Neilson worked from June 2013 to November 2014. And 2,369 were at Davis Hospital and Medical Center in Layton, where Neilson worked between 2012 and 2014. Neilson admitted to taking drugs from her employer while working at both hospitals, according to Utah Division of Occupational and Professional Licensing records. She surrendered her nursing license in November 2015, a month after the health officials began offering free testing to the thousands of patients who came into contact with her at the 2 hospitals and were given certain medications. This is the first time federal prosecutors in Utah have taken a case like Neilson's. Similar cases have been reported nationwide, including a case of a traveling radiology technician who infected 30 patients with the virus in a multi-state outbreak. That technician was sentenced to serve 39 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to 14 charges similar to Neilson's. Well, she needs to serve just as much time as that person did, because she put people's lives at risk here. She's ruined people's lives all because she was going through something. Like, that's some selfish shit. If you going through some shit, you go through it on your own terms. Don't bring anybody else into it. That was a very loaded article that I just read there. But then it also goes into the trust factor. Who can you trust when it comes to stuff like this? Like, you think you go in there for a routine checkup and then you go walk out of there and you get a letter saying you got hepatitis C. You probably like, how in the hell did that happen? And now these people are going to be on meds for the rest of their life. They got to be cautious for the rest of their life, for themselves and around others, because of what she did. But the judge want to say it was unintended. It was an accident. Bullshit. She knew exactly what she was doing. I bet you she would have infected them people probably with something that was much more intense, such as HIV or AIDS. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and have the notifications turned on. And I'll talk to you in the next one.